Have you ever pondered about the wide-reaching effects of a conflict between two distant entities? Picture this. An unforeseen war erupts between Israel and Hamas, triggered by a surprise attack from Hamas. Like a bolt from the blue, this conflict plunges the region into a state of chaos and uncertainty. The declaration of war by Israel came in response to a wave of attacks from Gaza. These attacks were not limited to just one form, but were a coordinated onslaught by land, sea, and air. The aftermath was devastating, with the death of a woman and injuries to 15 others. The tension doesn't end there. Hamas military commander Mohammed Daif has raised the stakes by calling Israeli Arabs, neighboring Arabs, and Palestinians within Israel to join the fight. This wave of coordinated attacks is the heaviest in years, sending shockwaves across the globe. The death toll and injuries from the initial attacks are just the tip of the iceberg. The conflict has escalated, drawing more and more people into its destructive path. The onset of this conflict has far-reaching effects, not just on the ground zero, but on a global scale. How does a conflict in a distant land affect the world economy? Let's dive right in. Picture this. Tensions escalate in the Middle East, and the world watches in apprehension. But it's not only the peace that's disturbed, it's the global economy that's shaking too. Let's talk about Russia, for instance. The ruble, Russia's currency, slumped to an 18-month low against the US dollar, trading at around 102, the lowest since April 2022. Why? Investors concerned about the brewing storm in the Middle East sought safety in the US dollar, giving it a significant boost. But it's not just Russia that's affected. Israel's own currency, the shekel, slid to a 7-year low against the dollar. The ruble has been on a downward trajectory all through 2023, down 38% from January levels, thanks to Moscow's economic weaknesses and Western sanctions. And while President Putin denies Russia's economic troubles, Western economists are voicing concerns about Russia's GDP and the risk of deindustrialization. So you see, the ripple effects of this conflict have far-reaching implications. They're impacting not only those directly involved, but also the world at large. Even as bullets fly and bombs explode, the silent tremors of this conflict are felt in the pockets of investors around the globe. How do superpowers respond to a conflict that threatens global peace? In the midst of the Israel-Hamas conflict, the United States has made significant moves. The USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group, a formidable force including an aircraft carrier and support aircraft, has sailed into the eastern Mediterranean Sea. This is not merely a show of force, but a strategic positioning aimed at deterring any escalation or broadening of the war. The deployment sends a strong message to any actor hostile to Israel: the world is watching, and aggression will not go unanswered. The presence of the USS Gerald R. Ford is not the end of the story, however. US defense officials are contemplating the deployment of another aircraft carrier, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, to the region. This potential move signifies the seriousness of the situation and the lengths to which superpowers are willing to go to maintain global peace. In a world where conflicts can ripple out and impact economies and lives far removed from their origins, such international responses are critical. As the world watches the superpowers make their moves, ready to quell the conflict before it escalates further. So, what have we learned from this chronicle of conflict and its global ripple? Firstly, we've seen how an unforeseen conflict, like the recent Israel-Hamas war, can erupt suddenly and escalate rapidly. With attacks launched from Gaza, Israel was forced into declaring a state of war. The intensity of the attacks has been unparalleled in recent years, leading to a significant loss of life and a heightened state of fear and tension. Secondly, we've observed that no conflict happens in isolation. The ripples of this war have extended far beyond the borders of Israel and Gaza. One of the most noticeable impacts has been the economic shift. Russia's currency, the ruble, slumped to an 18-month low against the US dollar due to investor concerns about the Middle East conflict. This caused investors to seek safety in the US dollar, boosting its value. Israel's shekel also slid to a 7-year low against the dollar. Thirdly, we've witnessed the international response. The USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group was deployed to the eastern Mediterranean Sea, a clear signal of deterrence against any actor hostile to Israel. This move indicates the readiness of international powers to intervene and prevent the conflict from escalating further, demonstrating the interconnectedness of our world. But what does all of this mean in the grand scheme of things? Well, it's a stark reminder of how volatile our world can be, and how quickly conflicts can escalate and spread. It's a testament to the far-reaching impact of war, not just on the nations directly involved, but on the global economy and international relations. It underlines the importance of diplomacy, negotiation, and peacekeeping efforts in maintaining global stability. This conflict, like many before it, has far-reaching and indiscriminate consequences. It affects not only those in the line of fire, but all of us in some way. Whether through economic shifts, changes in international relations, or simply the shared human experience of fear and loss, we are all touched by these events. As we continue to watch this unfolding saga, let us remember that the consequences of conflict are far-reaching and indiscriminate, affecting not just those in the line of fire, but all of us, in one way or another. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment saying you've subscribed, and we'll do our best to get back to you.